Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, June the 3rd. We just got a little two-game slate for Thursday, only two games to go over today, guys, so it's going to be, a fairly quick video. We're just going to go through each of these two games, kind of talk, through each team, what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night. So before we get started with the breakdown, as always, guys, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well, and also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to go live today. I'm going to be away from my computer this afternoon. Plus, it's only a two-game slate, so I don't think I'm going to be live today. And on Friday, I think we might only have one game Friday, so I probably won't have a video up for Friday, just given there might only be one game. But we'll kind of see how the schedule goes. I'm not sure how the games are going to play out. The Sixers won on Thursday night, so that series is over. The Hawks won, so that series is over, and the Jazz are about to win, so that series is going to be over. So we're having a lot of series in, which means we're just not going to have as many games, for the next couple days until the next round starts. Then games we'll start to get more games each day, probably like 2 games a day, I think. But yeah, guys, let's go and take a look at this 2-game slate, and we'll start off with the Denver and Portland game. So on the Denver side today, at the top here, you have Nikola Jokic for 10,700. Now, I'll be honest, like Jokic, he's not someone I've really been playing much in this series. I haven't really been on him that much. I mean, he's been good. He was really good last game. Games 1 through 3, he was, pretty good, 58, 56, 59 DK points. Had a really bad game in Game 4. It was a blowout. They lost by 20. And then he had a massive game last game, that went to double overtime, had 77 Draftkings points, played 46 minutes. I think the main reason I haven't been able to play Jokic, or haven't had as much interest in Jokic, these last few slates. For one, we've had more options. We've had more games available. There's usually been at least like 3 to 4 games on every slate Jokic has been on. There's been other guys to pay up for. But on today's slate, we only have 2 games. Jokic clearly is one of the top options. It's really him and Damian Lillard as your 2 guys above 10K. You have LeBron as well. I would say in terms of studs, like you have LeBron and AD, you have Lillard, you have Jokic, and then, I don't know if you consider Devin Booker like a quote-unquote stud for fantasy or whatever, but yeah, I mean, the stud options on a 2-game slate, they're not going to be as, we're not going to have as many stud options on a 2-game slate. Jokic is definitely someone I do like here at 10,700. I think right now, he's probably my favorite stud. I think I do give the edge to him over Damian Lillard. I definitely prefer Lillard and Jokic over the Lakers guys. I'm expecting Anthony Davis to play today. If Anthony Davis is playing, I think LeBron and AD are both fine options, but I would definitely rather get to these 2 guys that we'll talk about. Jokic, though, I do like a lot. 10-7 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's very affordable there. His price is down to $50. I think if I can pay up at center, Jokic is clearly the guy you want to try and get in now. You do have Nurkic you can play at center. You have DeAndre Ayton as well. There's other centers you could go to, but I think Jokic, if I can get to him, is the guy that I want at the top. I mean, we know what Jokic is going to do. He's going to play massive minutes. He might not play as many minutes as like Damian Lillard will. Damian Lillard's probably going to play like 40 to 42 minutes. Jokic might only play 36 to 38, but we know Jokic has massive upside, can put up a triple-double any night. He's the guy that I think I like the most at the top right now. And then Michael Porter Jr., we saw him, kind of go through a rough stretch, Game 3, Game 4, kind of, Game 2 as well. Like, he's been pretty bad lately, but he finally bounced back last game, had a really good game, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, had 51 DraftKings points, played 48 minutes in double overtime. He had a really good shooting game, which, that's something that can fluctuate from game to game. Some nights he's going to knock down shots, some nights he's not going to do that. But the opportunity should be there, and that's really all that we care about. He's going to play a ton of minutes if it's a close game, or at least he should. With no Jamal Murray, with no Will Barton, with no PJ Dozier, they need some scoring outside of Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr. is a guy that definitely can do that. 6,900, in my opinion, is way too cheap for MPJ, especially on a 2-game slate where our options are just really thin. He clearly stands out as a top option for me from this Nuggets team. Him and Jokic I like a lot today, and I like MPJ on Yahoo as well. Very affordable there, $28. He's clearly one of my favorite small forwards on Yahoo. I like him a lot over there as well. Then you have Campazzo. Campazzo, I think, is a risky option. He did not close last game. His minutes have kind of started to trend down lately. We've seen them really, give Monte Morris big minutes. It seems like they want to continue to give Austin Rivers big minutes. There's a good chance that Monte Morris closes this game ahead of Campazzo. So Campazzo at 6,100, I just can't go there. He should be super, super low owned. So on a 2-game slate, like if you want to play a low-owned Campazzo, you can. But I feel better about Rivers and Monte Morris, who probably play more minutes than Campazzo will. They're also cheaper. We'll talk about them in a second. But you have Aaron Gordon at 5,300. Aaron Gordon definitely benefited last game from double overtime. Played 39 minutes. I'm pretty sure at the end of regulation he had played like 28 or 29 minutes. If this is a close game, we probably get like 29, 30 minutes from Aaron Gordon. He's not a guy that really has much upside. He had one of his best games of the series and one of his best games as a Nugget. He had a double-double, 35 DraftKings points. His upside since he's been on the Nuggets has really taken a hit. Like, he just hasn't had as much fantasy upside, and it kind of makes sense, playing alongside Jokic. That's obviously going to take a hit for Gordon, but 5,300 on a two-game slate, I'm fine with Aaron Gordon, but still not a guy that I really like that much, to be honest with you. Monte Morris, though, is probably my third favorite play from the Nuggets behind these two guys. I like him a lot. You can play him at point guard or shooting guard. He looks like a really good option today. I like him a lot on Yahoo as well. At shooting guard, $15. I think he's one of the better value plays on Yahoo, and it's tough to find value on these playoff slates, especially with it just being two games. So Monte Morris is definitely someone I'll be looking to as a pay down option. Again, we saw him close last game ahead of Campazzo. He played 41 minutes. Even at the end of regulation, he had played 31 minutes. So he probably gets like close to 30 minutes off the bench here. He's been someone that has played really well off the bench for them lately. He's been a guy that in the past has benefited whenever Jamal Murray's been out. And we kind of saw Campazzo be the guy that took a lot of Murray's minutes at the start. Like whenever Murray first got injured, it was Campazzo getting big minutes on a nightly basis. But Monte Morris has come back from his injury. He was also out for a good amount of time. He's come back, and especially in this series, he's been really good. He's been producing at a pretty high rate. He's been averaging somewhat close to a fantasy point per minute. If we're going to get anywhere near 30 minutes from Monte Morris, I think at 4,700, he is someone I will for sure be looking to as a value option. And then I think you can also look to Austin Rivers. Rivers, I don't think has as much upside as Morris, but he probably plays 30-plus minutes. He played 47 in regulation last game, or in double overtime. He played 37 in the end of regulation. So we probably get like 30, close to 35 minutes. Like, we don't really know. The minutes can kind of fluctuate for Rivers. But if he plays anywhere near 35 minutes, at 4,500, he's also a guy that projects as a pretty good value. And if you do get a scenario like you did last game where Rivers and Morris are in the closing lineup, then you could definitely play both those guys together. Now, the one issue is that maybe they close with Campazzo instead of one of these two guys, but if you want to take the risk, play Rivers and Morris together and hope they're both out there in the closing lineup, which was the case last game, you can definitely do that. I don't mind Rivers as a value as well. But that's probably it for the Nuggets. I don't know if I'm going to go to like any of the bench guys. Like Paul Millsap probably plays like, 10, 12 minutes. I mean, just doesn't – I don't want to go there. JaMychal Green probably plays – 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe you could take a shot on him in large field tournaments at 3,300 if you're kind of desperate for a punt option. But really, you're just throwing darts with these bench guys. None of them are good plays, in my opinion. You're just kind of throwing darts. I think Monte Morris is the one guy off the bench that I do have interest in. But we can go ahead and move on to the Portland side here, talk about the Blazers. So at the top, you have Damian Lillard, 10,300. Like I said earlier, I think Lillard is probably my second favorite stud on this slate behind Jokic. I think it's going to be very tough to play Jokic and Lillard together. I don't know if there's going to be enough good value to make that work. Obviously, I haven't built lineups yet. But Lillard is a good option here. Now, one concern, I guess, is that his price did see a pretty big jump. He's up to 10,300 now after he was 9,600 last slate. Obviously, had that massive game last slate. 55 real-life points, had 92 DraftKings points. Just a huge game from Lillard. You basically had to have him if you wanted to take down a tournament last slate. Is he going to go out there and put up 92 DraftKings points again? Unlikely. I would say no, but we know Lillard still has massive upside. We know he's going to play 40 to 42 minutes if it's a close game. This is an elimination game for the Blazers, so if it's close, there's a good chance. I mean, Lillard literally might play the entire game. There's a possibility he plays 45, 46 minutes here. They have to win this game to keep this series alive, so I like Lillard a good amount. I just think I prefer Jokic a little bit, especially because guard, there's some options I do like at guard. There's also some centers you can play, but I think I'd be more likely to pay up for center for Jokic than pay up at point guard for Lillard, because we're going to talk about guys like Chris Paul, who I like again. You have, Morris, who I like for value. So, yeah, that's why I just give the slight edge to Jokic, but Dame is definitely a good pay-up option if you do want to go to him. CJ McCollum at 7,600, I'm not as interested in. Even in double overtime last game, he still only had 42 DraftKings points. CJ his upside just hasn't really been there. Rarely does CJ go out there and just break the slate and put up, 50 and be a guy that you have to roster. I'm willing to bet that CJ just has another, pretty mediocre game, puts up 35, 40 DraftKings points. He's going to be an okay play at his price, but isn't a guy that I feel like I have to go to at 7,600. I'd be a lot more likely to play Yusuf Nurkic. Now, I know that Nurkic has been, a pretty frustrating guy to roster in this series. He had a really good game in Game 1, 42 DK points in 33 minutes. Then he got in foul trouble Game 2. He was in foul trouble in Game 3 as well. It was a blowout in Game 4, and then last game he fouled out. So, really, the only game we've gotten full minutes from Nurkic was pretty much Game 1, and Game 2, I guess he played full minutes, although he did miss out on a little bit of extra time because he fouled out. But Game 2, foul trouble. Game 4, blowout. Game 5, foul trouble. If he can stay out of foul trouble, if the game stays close, I think we do get 33, 34 minutes from Nurkic. He has massive upside. He's a guy that can put up 40-plus DraftKings points any night when he's getting 30-plus minutes. You got to hope he stays out of foul trouble. Look, he's fouled out in 3 of the 5 games so far. He could foul out again in 25 minutes, or he could stay out of foul trouble and play 35 minutes. And if he does that, he's probably going to pay off his price tag. So definitely Nurkic is my second favorite center on the slate behind Jokic. I think you could play Jokic and Nurkic together. I don't know if that's going to be something that a ton of people do. So if you want to get a little different in tournaments, I do like that strategy of playing Nurkic and Jokic together. And then you have Norman Powell for 5,800. Norman Powell feels priced appropriately. At this price tag, I don't think he really stands out. But, again, he's another guy that's going to play massive minutes, probably 38 to 40 minutes if it's a close game. He was really good in games 3 and Game 4. Not so great last game, but the minutes should be there. He's still priced somewhat good, I guess. I mean, 5,800 doesn't stand out, but still viable. Not a like top play for me though. For the savings, I probably would rather roster Robert Covington. Robert Covington's actually been pretty good on a point per minute basis lately. He was terrible in games 1 and 2. 34 minutes, 18 fantasy points. 37 minutes, 12 fantasy points. We've seen Robert Covington do a little bit more lately. 29, 26, 39 DraftKings points. He's been rebounding, which is good to see. 11 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 11 rebounds. His rebounds have started to go up. I think a lot of that has been due to the fact that he's basically been their backup center. They pretty much have taken Enes Kanter out of the rotation. I know Kanter did get some time on the floor last game, but I think a lot of that had to do with Nurkic foul trouble. If Nurkic isn't in foul trouble, then we're probably just going to get an 8-man rotation from the Blazers with Carmelo playing some minutes off the bench, Anthony Simons getting some minutes off the bench, and then probably Rondae Hollis-Jefferson will get some minutes. I don't think Kanter will play here. If that's the case, I mean, Covington probably gets 35 to 36 minutes with some minutes as the backup center, and I think getting those backup center minutes is definitely going to help his rebounding numbers, and we've kind of seen that lately. He's got potential to give you a double-double. He can shoot threes. He's not a guy that you really ever feel good rostering, but on a slate where we don't really have any great value, for 5,100, getting a guy at this price that's going to play 36 minutes, I like Robert Covington a good amount today. He's definitely one of my favorite plays from Portland when you do factor in price tag. I like him. I like Nurkic. I like Lillard. I think those are the 3 guys I'm going to look to roster on this Blazers team. And on Yahoo at the power forward position, I definitely like Robert Covington over there as well at $17. I would definitely rather play Robert Covington over Aaron Gordon if I had to choose between those 2 guys. But that's probably it for Portland. Carmelo off the bench probably plays 20 to 22 minutes. If you want to go there, fine. I don't love him, but he could get hot, knock some shots down, put up 25 DK points and be a solid value. But he's just like a GPP dart throw. And none of these bench guys I think are viable. They're just not getting enough minutes to where they really should be rosterable. So yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about the Suns and the Lakers. So on the Suns side today, you have Devin Booker at the top for 8,200. He bounced back in a big way last game, had a really good game, even in the blowout, had 48 DraftKings points in 33 minutes. We saw him really struggle in games 2 through 4, but again, bounced back last game with 48 DK points. We know Devin Booker has this kind of upside, can pop off any night, can put up a big game any night. I still don't think that he really stands out on this slate as a top play for me. If I was playing one lineup today, I doubt I get to Devin Booker. But obviously, on a 2-game slate, if you're playing multiple lineups, Devin Booker is very likely to be a guy that gets into some of your lineups. I just don't know if he's going to be a core option for me or someone that I, build around. I think I'd rather take the savings and play Chris Paul. I do like Chris Paul a lot today. I liked him a lot last slate. It didn't really work out. He only played 23 minutes in the blowout, only had 24 DK points. I'm expecting, though, if this is a close game, that we get back to probably low 30s, maybe mid-30s minutes from Chris Paul. It seems like he's fully healthy at this point. It doesn't really seem like his shoulder is bothering him at really any moment right now. I think he would have played more last game had it been a close game. I don't think I don't think they really wanted to push him in a blowout. Like, they're not going to push, Chris Paul in a blowout, even if he was fully healthy. I mean, he's just an older guy. Like, if you're going to play someone in a blowout, I mean, play Devin Booker because he's a younger guy. So yeah, Chris Paul is 6,500. If we get normal minutes from him today, if it's a close game, which I think, with the Lakers, right now the Lakers are favored by 2.5. I think that suggests that Anthony Davis is probably going to play today. If Anthony Davis is playing, we should get a close game here. We should get 32, 33 minutes from Chris Paul. 6,500 is too cheap for Chris Paul if he's going to play anywhere near 30-plus minutes. So I like him a lot at point guard. Definitely one of my favorite point guard options today, points per dollar-wise. And he looks really good on Yahoo as well. $26. I think he's also too cheap over there. And then DeAndre Ayton, we did skip over. I think he's a good center option too. Now, I probably would rather play Nurkic for a little bit cheaper. Ayton finally had his first bad game of this series. He was so good games 1 through 4. He didn't have that good of a game last game, only 19 DK points in 27 minutes, but I'd be willing to bet that he probably bounces back here. Now, the price has come up to 7,700, so he's not like a top play for me anymore. He was really good when he was 6,100, 6,300. Now that he's priced where he is now, I don't think he stands out as much, but still viable on a short 2-game slate. Like I said, though, I think I'd rather play Nurkic for cheaper. And then you have Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne's going to be a guy that I continue to fade. I haven't played him at all this series. I know he's had some good games off the bench, but his minutes have started to trend down with Chris Paul getting back to full strength. If Chris Paul plays 32, 33 minutes today, I just don't see any way Cameron Payne gets more than 22, 24 minutes. Cameron Payne's not going to play 27, 30 minutes here if Chris Paul's fully healthy. I'm going to just keep fading him. He had 25 DK points in 19 minutes last game. He's been definitely performing over his head, I do feel like. Now, he's been really good in this series. You can't deny that. But for DFS, with him being priced where he is, even on a 2-game slate, Cameron Payne's just going to be a guy that I just kind of avoid. And if he goes out there and puts up 30 DK points in 20 minutes, then, so be it. Whatever. I'm not interested in Cameron Payne. Mikal Bridges, though, at 5K, I think is fine. He probably plays 35, 36 minutes here if it's a close game. He's not a very productive player, but the minutes should be there, which makes him viable at 5K. Same could be said for Jay Crowder, another guy that's not a very productive player. He did have that really good game in Game 4. He's dealt with foul trouble a lot in this series. He probably plays 33, 34 minutes if this is a close game. For 4,900, I don't mind Crowder either. He probably would be a guy I'd get to as a last piece in. I don't think he's someone that I'm starting my lineup with, but if he fits into my lineup, I'm totally fine playing Jay Crowder. But that's probably it for the Suns. I don't think there's really anyone else off the bench I want to go to. None of these bench guys stand out, so other side, talk about the Lakers real quick before we end the video. You got LeBron and Anthony Davis at the top, 10,100 and then 9,400 for Anthony Davis. So we do not have an update yet on Anthony Davis. Last update we got was that he was going to be a game-time decision for Thursday. He did not play on Tuesday. My best guess is that Anthony Davis plays here, especially with it being an elimination game for the Lakers. They need Anthony Davis if they want to have a chance to win this game. So I'm expecting AD to play. If AD does play, he's a good option, I guess, at 9,400, but he doesn't really stand out when you have Jokic, when you have Lillard. Those are guys I would just rather play, especially because we don't really know if Anthony Davis is going to be 100%. Then you have LeBron at 10,100. I was very high on LeBron last slate with Anthony Davis out, and the Lakers just went out there and got destroyed. They lost by 30. LeBron only played 32 minutes, had a pretty mediocre game. In an elimination game, you would expect LeBron to play really well. I think he's going to be lower owned than LeBron. I think he's going to be lower owned than Jokic. I think he's going to be lower owned than Lillard. So if you want to play LeBron in tournaments, in an elimination game, just kind of hoping for a big game, buying into the narrative, you could definitely do that. I think if Anthony Davis does return, that will take a slight hit for LeBron. Neither one of these guys are my favorite pay-ups. I would rather play Jokic. I'd rather play Lillard, but on a 2-game slate, if I'm playing multiple lineups, I'm going to get some exposure to LeBron. I'm going to get some exposure to Anthony Davis, but they won't be core options for me, I do not think. Then you have Dennis Schroeder at 5,900. Fine, but not a guy I feel like I have to go to. Schroeder, I've been saying it recently, Schroeder at this price tag just never feels like someone you have to roster. If he has a good game that puts up 35 DK points, he'll be a solid play, but not a guy that's really going to be, probably won't even be in the optimal lineup. And then Andre Drummond, especially if Anthony Davis comes back, I just don't really know how many minutes Drummond plays. No interest in him. Kuzma, I'd really only go there if Davis is out. Even if Davis is out, I don't have that much interest in Kuzma. He was pretty bad last slate with Davis out. I was very high on him as well. He underperformed, only had 16 DK points in 23 minutes. He came off the bench. If Davis is out, he probably comes off the bench again. His price went up a little bit. No interest in Kuzma. Marc Gasol could maybe be the guy that you go to. It seems like he's the guy that they want to give minutes to at center right now. I would have a lot more interest in him if Davis sits. If Davis plays, it makes it a bit more risky. Gasol only played 10 minutes last game, but he was in major foul trouble. He picked up 5 fouls in those 10 minutes. I don't know how many minutes he plays here, but it does seem like they want to play him over Drummond right now. He's kind of like, even though Drummond's been starting, it seems like Gasol is going to wind up getting more minutes on a nightly basis than Drummond will. So you can maybe go to Gasol as a value. You can maybe go to a guy like KCP who probably starts and plays like 30 minutes. He only played 15 last game, but I'm pretty sure he got re-injured in that game. It also was a blowout. Again, as a punt play, maybe if you want to try and jam in an extra stud, like if you want to try and play Jokic and Lillard together, then I could see playing a guy like KCP just to make that work. But KCP, not someone I'm really excited to roster. He just doesn't have much upside. Caruso has been getting pretty consistent minutes off the bench, but his upside is also slim to none. Like, he's just not a very high upside player. I mean, this Lakers team I really don't like that much at all. They're definitely my least favorite team on the slate. If LeBron and AD both play, I think they're both fine to go to, but none of these secondary Lakers guys are good plays to me. I mean, there's some guys you can sprinkle in tournaments like Marc Gasol or KCP or Caruso, but none of these secondary pieces from the Lakers I have a ton of confidence in. So, yeah, that does it for the Lakers game, and that does it for both of the two games for Thursday night, guys. So, just a little two-game slate Thursday night. We'll have to see. I think we're only going to have one game on Friday. So, Friday, I probably won't post a video. I don't really, do Showdown or anything. I'll probably make Showdown content during the finals, but I don't think I'm going to make a Showdown video for Friday. So if there's only one game Friday, then you'll probably see me again maybe on Saturday. I'm not sure how many games we'll have Saturday, but I'll just keep an eye on the schedule. We'll have to wait and see, when some of these series end. If this Lakers game goes to 7 games, if this Blazers game goes to 7 games, then we'll probably have like a 2-game slate on Saturday. But yeah, guys, we'll figure that out in the coming days. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Hope you did enjoy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell as well, so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Like I said, guys, probably will not be live today. Just a 2-game slate. I'm going to be busy Thursday afternoon, so I don't think I'm going to be live today. But yeah, I appreciate you watching. Hope you did enjoy, guys. Best of luck on the slate. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.